Sean Payton and the Denver Broncos have one more job left to take this A offseason and make it an A+ with extra credit. And I am sure Sean Payton is looking at this challenge in front of him and saying, this is way easier than what y'all gave me last year, which was find a franchise quarterback with the 12th overall selection. And he did it. And now this challenge in front of him, he's got the pelts on the wall. He has done this multiple times. If anything, we should feel more confident in Sean Payton being able to find the running back of the future than we were that he would find Bo Nix, because it's harder to find a quarterback than a running back, and he's proven with Reggie Bush and Alvin Kamara that he knows exactly what he's looking for and how to find it. So in this video, we're going to break down who are the best options that Sean Payton could select with the first overall selection. The Broncos are selecting at 20. Let me know in the comments, am I off here? Which of these guys do you think would be a reach at the 20th pick, and which one do you think it's like, man, lock that thing in? If you're new to the channel, diehard Denver Broncos fan named Ben, and it does help me in the algorithm out a ton if you would like and subscribe. Sean Payton has found talent all over the place. We look here in this draft that he got Reggie Bush, and he picked him over quarterback Vince Young, over quarterback Matt Leinart. But then you look in this draft, like he passed on Derrick Henry when he could have had him in the first round at the end of Reggie Bush's career, and ended up getting a corner. And then we see here him pass on some other Pro Bowlers and know that he was going to be able to find Alvin Kamara in the third round, which he did, and ended up looking like an absolute genius. So we need to be as confident in Sean Payton in making this decision to find our running back, way more confident than any other thing that he's done. Like, this is the thing, if I were to rank my confidence, this would be like a 95% chance Sean Payton finds it. If Sean Payton was doing a trust fall, I'd fall back because I trust him to do this, and it would be amazing. And so we know that this is who we're targeting. We are definitely telegraphing this pass out there. The whole league knows that this is a great tweet here by Blue Ridge Bronco that says it's like, don't read too much into who the Broncos are meeting with. Like, oh, they met with Devin Neal in multiple times, so that must be their number one pick. But they only met with this guy one time. Don't look at individual meetings and where it was, but instead look at the totality of how many different players from each position group. And you see here an entire list of about a dozen running backs that Sean Payton or these Broncos in some way or other have met with. Sean Payton is going to find a running back, and I think he needs to do it in the first round. So the big question is, which of these first-round running backs is the best fit in Sean Payton's offense? And which of these would you be like, oh, my goodness, we just reached on that guy because we used the 20th draft pick on Judkins? I don't know. Let's dive in here. So if we take a look here, I think there is a very, very clear separation between Ashton Jeanty and the rest. Truly, if Ashton Jeanty is on the board after the Cowboys, we have got to trade up and go get him, because I think he is that generational of a talent. This is an amazing advanced analytic. And on the right side here, this is how far you go after you get hit. So that's your ability to like bulldoze and truck through dudes. And this ability is your how many missed tackles you have, like how jukey and fluid are your hips. My hips don't lie. They're super fluid. So you see Ashton Jeanty is great at all of it. He can bulldoze through somebody and he can make you miss. We have not seen an actual 40 time from Ashton Jeanty, but just the fact that he is far and away the best running back in this class. And it's interesting to see some of these other names that are far on that grid, and how much of that is because of the competition that Tootin was playing against versus knowing that Ashton Jeanty, he also didn't have the toughest competition. We saw Cam Scatterbo playing late into the playoff run. So just interesting. And even down here, seeing Donovan Edwards kind of, he was the head of, or the face of the new NCAA football game and had won a national championship 2 years ago. And now you see by this advanced analytic, he's the actual worst at both of those categories. But I watched a ton of Michigan football because I'm stuck living in Michigan. I miss Colorado so much. But he was like, they did not have a throwing game. So he was playing against stacked boxes all the time of Big Ten trench fighters. And I don't think even if you put Ashton Jeanty in that exact same system where there's no other option, the ball's going to Donovan Edwards, is it going to be a very similar breakdown? So Mel Kiper went out and he ranked his top 10. This is Mel Kiper's big board of like talent, basically at the running back position, and his top 10 in order of who he thinks is just the best available. Now, my question is like, where's the line that you draw and say after that, it would be an absolute reach to pick that person with the first round draft pick? Like, even if you're in love with Cam Scatterbo, if the Broncos draft him with the first overall pick, are you going to be like, what are we doing? We could have had him maybe even in pick 3. Like, are there going to be 9 running backs in the first 2 picks? But it's like if you got a borderline guy, like let's say Judkins is your number one, and you're like, I think he's going to be there when we're back on the board at 50, and he's not. Are you going to be sick to your stomach that you didn't just pick him a couple of picks earlier? Like I just think of somebody like a Jahmyr Gibbs. A lot of people had him as a second round running back, and the Lions are laughing all the way to the bank that they got him early and didn't try to wait and hope he fell all the way to the second round, because that's just not how it works. So I think Ashton Jeanty, Omarion Hampton, Kaleb Johnson, those are the ones that I'm putting my hand down on this table and saying first round picks. If those guys are on the board, first round picks. After that, I don't think you reach. I think you get the best available. And I think there's definitely enough evidence out there to prove it. Like just the difference that Ashton Jeanty is, we have not had a player like this. Those advanced analytics showed it, but you see his ability to run in the hole like we see there, and then just that breakaway speed here. You're talking again an Oregon team that was pretty decent, and dude's like pulling up 10 yards before the end zone because he's got such a big lead. So I think Ashton Jeanty, far and away, trade up, and I'd be willing to give up a third round draft pick to trade back in or early up into the first round to get him. Beyond that, that might be a little bit rich. Now let's get into Omarion Hampton. He's another person that people are saying is a first round pick. I'm curious what all of you guys think. I think if he's still on the board at 20, another player, I'm like, get him while he's here. Again, you see a player who's got that breakaway speed. You see him in the hole there. We haven't had a Broncos running back just finish through contact like that in how long? It is a little scary to me that as I watch highlights of him, you see him in the shotgun a lot, and maybe Sean Payton envisions Bo Nix being able to play out of the shotgun a ton like that, but I do know, watching a ton of Drew Brees and studying what he wants, he does want an under center game. And so it does scare me. Like, does he translate to that? But man, look at that broken tackle, his ability to fight through. Omarion Hampton is a difference maker, and I think that warrants a first round draft pick for sure. And a 20th overall selection without a doubt. I would be very excited. You're hearing Mel Kiper now come out and say that some people have Omarion Hampton as their number one running back on the board. So if all of a sudden you got him at 20, wouldn't we just be like, yep, that's what we thought? I think one of the fears here is it does remind you a little bit of Javonte, where like Javonte in college actually is one of the only college running backs who, as the game progressed, got more and more yards in each quarter because dudes were tired of hitting him. And so do you see him as more of a downhill guy, and like once he gets his head of steam and he's a straightforward guy, he's not a Barry Sanders type who can dance in the backfield and make something from nothing, very similar to Javonte. Now, if Javonte had never gotten injured, might we not even be having this discussion right now, because we'd still have him on our team and he could still be a difference maker. But to me, get him with the 20th pick. Next one on Mel Kiper's big board is Kaleb Johnson. Now, I watched several of his games this year too, and I do think he warrants a first-round draft pick, although I think the 20th selection for Kaleb Johnson might be a bit rich for my blood, but you just see here the Iowa system, see him lining up under center there. You've seen that ability, Big Ten, good competition there, playing with not an explosive offense, and he made that offense explosive because of him. So to me, that is where you draw the line and say, those are the first three that I feel comfortable with getting in the first round. Beyond that, like, let's wait for him. Now, there are some people who are making a case that that we might be very, very off in where we're putting Trayvon Henderson. So obviously he's wearing a national championship ring as an Ohio State Buckeye. He was the linchpin of that offense, and then they went out and got Judkins and brought him in before the season. You just hear a great character guy from a Trayvon Henderson. And as I think about what we're losing with Javonte leaving, it's that pass protection. And so there are just so many reels out there of him just looking exactly like a Javonte Williams in pass pro, just being able to step up here and just absolutely level a blitzing linebacker there. Same thing here against the Michigan State game, and just buy extra time for that quarterback. And then we've seen him out of the backfield as a pass catcher as well. And so if Trayvon Henderson is still there at 20, or do you hope you can kind of gamble a little bit, and do you trade back with a team? Or are you just saying, man, if those first three are off the board, we are not going running back. We are taking our field here, because of these top 10, you will at least have three of these guys still available for you in the second round. And I think what Sean Payton is going to do is exactly what he did with Bo Nix, where none of us know going into it, and he knows in his mind like who he wants and what is the highest place he would be willing to get them, and he's gonna back up plans to the backup plans. And could all of this be for naught? Because could his real plan be get J.K. Dobbins? Because y'all know the truth out there. J.K. Dobbins still on the board now, still a free agent. Could this be the difference maker that the Broncos haven't had at running back in a long time? And could you do that and then gamble with, all right, we are going to take Sean Payton's next favorite person in the second and third round draft pick? So let me know in the comments what you think about that. Broncos country, Bo Nix is going to find his offensive weapon in the backfield with him. You can be sure of that because Sean Payton has done it before and he's going to do it again. And that's something we should all believe in.